Hello, I'm Monita Rajpal in Hong Kong. Welcome to News Stream, where news and technology meet. 52 passengers stranded on a ship in Antarctica have finally been rescued. A Chinese helicopter ferried them to an Australian icebreaker earlier today. Their research vessel got trapped in the Antarctic ice more than a week ago. It could still be weeks before the research team makes it back on land. Anna Corrin is following the story for us from here in Hong Kong. Anna, so they've still got quite the journey, but what a journey it's been so far.
Yeah, absolutely. As you say, they were on a research mission. They got stuck in ice on Christmas Eve, and they've been...
All right, Anna, thank you for that. Anna Corrin, they're live for us from here in Hong Kong. As South Sudan edges toward the brink of civil war, there are new hopes for the agreement of a ceasefire. Representatives from the government and rebel groups are set to meet in Ethiopia to end weeks of ethnic bloodletting. Two South Sudanese states have seen horrific violence and scores of civilian deaths since clashes between government troops and rebels broke out in December. It has been following events on the ground in South Sudan. She filed this report from the capital, Juba.
Individuals representing both the South Sudanese President Salva Kiir and his former Vice President
Pervez Musharraf has been hospitalized on the same day he was due to appear in court on treason charges. His lawyer says the former Pakistani president fell ill and was taken to hospital on doctor's orders. If convicted, the former leader could face life imprisonment or even the death penalty for suspending the constitution and imposing emergency rule in Pakistan in 2007. His trial has now been postponed until Monday. Vladimir Putin is vowing to tighten security across Russia ahead of the Winter Olympics. The Russian president was in Volgograd on Wednesday talking to survivors of two terrorist attacks that left more than 30 people dead. As Jill Doherty reports, Mr. Putin wants to reassure the world that Russia is safe to host the Winter Olympics, which take place in just 36 days.
A somber New Year's Day for Russian President Vladimir Putin.
You're watching News Stream. Still to come on the show, Snapchat users exposed. Hackers leak personal details of millions who use this photo sharing app. Let's turn now to the red-hot rhetoric that's coming from North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. Well, he welcomed the new year with new threats. Brian Todd tells us how analysts are interpreting Kim's message.
He calls the U.S. and South Korea, quote, war maniacs, says those nations are deploying forces, girding for nuclear war with his country.
Welcome back. The New York Times editorial board, well, it's making its case for NSA leaker Edward Snowden. In a piece published today, the paper calls for clemency for Snowden. The former NSA contractor is wanted in the U.S. on charges of espionage, and he is now living in Russia under asylum. Part of the editorial says, quote, when someone reveals that government officials have routinely and deliberately broken the law, that person should not face life in prison at the hands of the same government. The Guardian also put out a similar piece today that comes to Snowden's defense. The British paper argued that Snowden deserves clemency. Well, for more now, let's go to Athena Jones, who joins us live from Honolulu. She's traveling with the president right now, and he's there on vacation. Athena, so what kind of reaction has there been to these two major publications asking for clemency for Edward Snowden?
Hi, Monita. Well, no reaction from the White House on this editorial. That's strongly worded.
Joining us there live from Honolulu. Let's get you an update now on the health of Formula One legend Michael Schumacher. His manager says he is in critical but stable condition. Doctors have said it's still too early to speculate about his long-term prognosis. The 44-year-old suffered severe head trauma on Sunday in a skiing accident in the French Alps. Let's get you the very latest now. And Jim Bolton joins us live from outside the hospital in Grenoble, France. And Jim, are we expecting any more updates today?
No, we're not expecting any updates today from the doctors.
Since Sunday, Mita.
All right, Jim, thank you. Jim Bolton there live for us from Grenoble in France. Now, in the days since Schumacher's accident, we have been learning a little bit more about what actually went wrong on the slopes that day. CNN's Christina McFarland traveled to the French Alps, and she skied down the off-piste run herself. Take a look.
It was here on this ski slope on a sunny day in the resort of Maribel that Michael Schumacher set out with his friends and 14-year-old son.
In the northeastern United States, extreme winter weather is set to create havoc. Boston is one of several areas that has declared a snow emergency, and New York City is bracing for more than 22 centimeters of snowfall. In all, over a dozen states are facing some type of winter weather advisory. It's fun if you're indoors, Mari Ramos. It's fun to watch and play in if you don't have to go to work. But if you're traveling, yeah, it's going to be frustrating.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be very frustrating for a lot of people. And you know what? Because it's going to be so cold, Monita, it's even going to be difficult for people that want to play in the snow, because we're talking about frigid temperatures. I'm afraid of a break. Back to you.
All right. Mari, thank you very much. Hackers appear to have taken personal data from millions of Snapchat users. Over 4 million usernames and partial phone numbers were posted online on Wednesday. The hackers told TechCrunch they did it to urge Snapchat to tighten security, ironically. The company has yet to respond to the hack. Now, if you're not familiar with Snapchat, here's a quick guide. It's a picture messaging service for smartphones. Take a picture like this. You can draw on the picture to add a message, then send it. But there is a catch. Snapchat messages will disappear. The person receiving the message has between 1 to 10 seconds to view the picture, and then it's gone. Now, so how many people use Snapchat? Pretty good question there. The company has never actually said how many users it has, but it has seen a notable service because of who its users are: teens. One recent study by University College London suggests that Snapchat is one of a number of services that are even threatening Facebook. Author Daniel Miller wrote a study of teens in the UK shows Facebook is not just on the slide, it is basically dead and buried. That could explain why Facebook reportedly tried to buy Snapchat. The Wall Street Journal said the service turned down a $3 billion acquisition offer from Facebook. U.S. President Barack Obama's signature health care law faces a new high-stakes legal test. Most major rules of Obamacare took effect on Wednesday, and officials say more than 2 million people have signed up for coverage so far. But some religious groups are objecting to a provision in the law. Athena Jones reports.
Today could be the first real test for Obamacare, as doctors' offices, clinics, and pharmacies reopen after the New Year holiday.
Welcome back. Japan's demographic difficulties are well documented. The number of deaths each year are greater than the number of births, and it has been that way since 2007. But health officials are saying the gap last year is a new record, with the natural population decline rising to nearly 250,000 people, and the number of deaths is said to be the highest annual rise since World War II. Remember, around 1/4 of the Japanese population is aged 65 or older, and that's nearly 32 million people. The government expects the elderly will make up 40% of the population by 2060. As its population ages, Japan faces high pension and medical bills, and if trends continue, it will not have enough working age people to sustain the economy. But here's another way to think about this graying nation. With the world's longest life expectancy and one of the lowest birth rates, Japan is expected to see sales of adult diapers overtake those of baby diapers by 2020. Now, in Colorado, some residents were ready to start 2014 on a bit of a high note. Hundreds lined up to be among the first in the U.S. to buy marijuana for recreational use legally. Casey Wyan visited one of those stores, making history.
This married couple rang in the new year by waiting outside the Evergreen Apothecary at 2 in the morning.
Well, the new year has really gotten off to a bang in Taiwan. Remember that giant rubber duck that's on a world tour? It even was seen bobbing around our Hong Kong Victoria Harbor for a while last year. Well, the 19-meter tall duck unexpectedly exploded in Taiwan. Now, when most of us think of celebrating the new year, giving birth might not come to mind, but one family brought in 2014 with twins born in different years. I love this story. As Hank Silverberg reports, it's an emotional way to close one chapter and open another.
Here they are. Lorraine Bergazzo, born 1158 New Year's Eve at Washington Hospital Center.
Great story. Russia will soon host the 2014 Winter Olympics, but athletes aren't the only ones working up a sweat ahead of the games. Up next, we'll show you how Moscow commuters. We have a bit of a programming note for you because a landmark CNN series is returning this Saturday. Cold War charts a tense power struggle that played out around the globe and defined our world today. Well, Russia is gearing up to host the Winter Olympics, but this Russian gymnast isn't training for the games here. She is earning herself a free ticket on the subway. Phil Black headed to a Moscow metro to put an innovative new ticket machine and his fitness to the test.
Beneath the freezing streets of Moscow. It is a bitterly cold Moscow day. What could possibly go wrong? A very popular one, I've noticed, has been, here we go, the Superman. It's not counting. There's also...
Before we go, we leave you with a sad note. The hit sitcom, The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, was a staple television program in many American homes in the 1990s. Beloved Uncle Phil, remember him, was the tough yet lovable character who acted as a father figure to his nephew, a role model made famous by Will Smith. Well, actor James Avery, who played Uncle Phil, he died on New Year's Eve. His manager said he had complications from open heart surgery. James Avery was 68 years old. That is News Stream for this Thursday. The news continues here on CNN. I'm Monita Rajpal. World Business Today is next.